if not disturbing, piece here by Henry Giroux at Counterpunch. I'll link down below. As you can see, the title, Blinded by the Light, Remembering the Hiroshima and Nagasaki in the Age of Normalized Violence. And again, this was when the United States dropped atomic bombs on these two cities in Japan, just committing just almost unthinkable, frankly, levels of death and destruction by doing this. Again, the United States, only country history of the world to ever have used atomic bombs in war. This is August 6, 1965. Unleashed an atomic bomb on Hiroshima, killing 140,000 people instantly. 70% of the city was destroyed. A few days later, on August 9th, another bomb was dropped on Nagasaki, killing an estimated 70,000 people. Jesus. Half a million potentially killed, according to Japanese government estimates. Many died not only because of lack of medical help, but also from radioactive rain. In the immediate aftermath, the incineration of mostly innocent civilians was buried in official government pronouncements about the victory of the bombing of both Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Violence rendered in military abstractions and patriotic platitudes is itself an act of violence. The visceral... I hope this is plugged in. Yeah, it is. I'm tripping. It's plugged in. The visceral effect of violence brings to the surface what can only be considered intolerable, unthinkable, and never unknowable. Maybe such horror can only be possible in the language of journalism. And so this is an excerpt from John Hershey, who I believe was there at the time of these atomic bombs being dropped by the U.S. On his way back to the water, Father Klingsgård got lost on a detour around a fallen tree, and as he looked for his way through the woods, he heard a voice ask from the underbrush, "Have you anything to drink?" He saw a uniform. Thinking there was just one soldier, he approached with the water. When he had penetrated the bushes, he saw there were about 20 men. They were all in exactly the same nightmarish state. Their faces were wholly burned. Their eye sockets were hollow. The fluid from their melted eyes had run down their cheeks. Their mouths were mere swollen, pus-covered wounds, which they could not bear to stretch enough to emit the spout of the teapot. I mean, Jesus Christ. I mean, this is what the U.S. did to these people. Completely and utterly unnecessary, and yet they did it. They did it anyways. Unleashed this, again, unthinkable level of violence and destruction on these two cities in Japan in August of 1945. Jesus Christ. So disgusting. Kenzaburo Oi, the Nobel Prize winner for literature, noted that in spite of attempts to justify the bombing, quote, "From the instant the bomb exploded, it soon became the symbol of human evil, embodying the absolute evil of war. What particularly troubled O was the scientific and intellectual complicity in the creation of and the lobbying for its use, with acute awareness that it would turn Hiroshima into a vast, ugly death chamber." I mean, yeah. More pointedly, it revealed a new stage in the merging of military actions and scientific methods. Indeed, a new era in which the technology of destruction could destroy the earth in roughly the time it takes to boil an egg. The bombing of Hiroshima and Nagasaki forecasts a new industrial-enabled kind of violence and warfare in which the distinction between soldiers and civilians disappeared and the indiscriminate bombing of civilians was normalized. But more than this, the American government exhibited a total embrace of the atomic bomb that signaled support for the first time of a notion of unbounded annihilation and totality of destruction. Jesus Christ. I mean, just so fucked up. I mean, there's so many things in the history, of the U.S. and its government, and just so many atrocities have been committed, and this is definitely up there, at least on a global scale. God damn, I mean, 500,000 people potentially died from these two atomic bombs being dropped on Hiroshima Nagasaki. I mean, just think about that. 500 people. 500,000 people, I should say. I mean, Jesus Christ. This is a very long article. Hiroshima not only unleashed immense misery, unimaginable suffering, and wanton death on Japanese civilians, it also gave rise to anti-democratic tendencies in the United States government that put health, safety, and liberty of the American people at risk. Whatever democracy we had before that, right? Shot in secrecy, the government machinery of death that produced the bomb did everything possible to cover up the most grotesque effects of the bomb on the people of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, but also the dangerous hazards it posed to the American people. Clarence, he keeps jumping on my leg. Oh, look at this, yeah. Atomic Energy Commission, Department of Defense, CIA, and other government departments engaged in a series of medical experiments designed to test the effects of different levels of radiation exposure on military personnel, medical patients, prisoners, and others in various sites. Jesus. Intentionally poisoning people, radiation releases, by placing military personnel at or near ground zero of bomb tests. I mean, just the level of evil, just so disgusting. Jesus. God damn, dude. Hiroshima symbolized and continues to remind us of the fact that the U.S. commits unspeakable acts of violence, making it easier to refuse to rely on politicians, academics, and alleged experts who refuse to support politics of transparency and serve mostly legitimate anti-democratic, if not totalitarian policies. Goddamn, Henry, this is a long article. Jesus, Henry. But I mean, just how egregious, how completely unnecessary it was for the U.S. to drop these atomic bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki in August of 1945. Just again, the only time ever that a country has used atomic bombs in war, it was by the U.S., not surprisingly. And damn, man, just so fucked up. Like the video, even though it's a very dark topic. If you found it interesting, subscribe for more content. Become a patron if you're so inclined. All power to the people. Peace.